Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is a little better than the first Michael Bay Ninja Turtles film, and it's cool seeing Krang and Bebop and Rocksteady, but it's still not great. So just like with the first, let's see how I would do it better. Out of the Shadows, another take. We open up with a news broadcast. 2 years after the last film, the Foot Clan has been taken down and Shredder's behind bars. Out from the shadows comes the Foot's End, the savior of New York. The Turtles are all hearing this, watching a Knicks game in the shadows, but then it's revealed to be Vernon Fenwick. He took the credit for taking out Shredder and claims to be the vigilante, aka Casey Jones, and the fame's completely gone to his head. It turns out that he's at the Knicks game and everyone's like interviewing him. Raph and Mikey are upset, Donnie didn't even want to be here, and Leo says that part of being a ninja is blending into the shadows. They're not supposed to be out in the open. Raph is like, whatever, and Mikey starts shooting spitballs at Vern. They eventually decide to leave, and we get the original intro, but I guess played in reverse as they're going home and not to the next game. And they steal a pizza, but Donnie drops a sock full of quarters. They play Keep Away. Splinter's like meditating, and they accidentally splash water all over him. And they're like, alright, we got pizza, awesome, bodacious, radical. Mikey's happy, but then he hears like a weird growl sound coming from the sewers. But he like shakes his head and is like, whatever. And ensures that Splinter, they got him a slice. It came with a bite in it. Then he turns on the TV.
Today at Stocktronics Incorporated, New York's leading new technology firm. Founder and CEO Dr. Baxter Stockman was on hand to unveil his latest innovation.
Build a better mousetrap, and the world will beat a path to your door. I say, let the path beating begin. The Stocktronics Mouser.
Boring.
They flip through TV as we see that Shredder is getting prisoner transported, which of course in movies never goes well, as the Foot on motorcycles show up, take out the traffic around them, and start trying to jailbreak Shredder. And they're using mousers to open the top of the van. And they got a helicopter. The Turtles see April reporting about this, so they hop in the van and they head out. And Donnie's upgraded the van so it shoots sewer lids, and it has giant nunchucks. It had giant nunchucks. It might be symbolism for Mikey. Meanwhile, Baxter's trying to organize the jailbreak with all of his cameras and stuff at the Foot headquarters. Instead of Karai being there with him, she's in the helicopter with Jenny. Instead, Hun's with him, like intimidating Baxter. Raph hops out the back of the van, takes out some ninjas. He notices one has a mouser and he grabs it, along with his motorcycle, and he drives it into the van instead of crashing it behind it. The Foot manages to open the top, and the Shredder starts escaping. His handcuffs being cut by the mouser, and he gets in by a zipline. The Turtles manage to cut it, so now the Shredder has to jump into the helicopter. So Mikey, after getting his head bashed a little, shoots a net at him. But instead of Baxter opening a teleport portal, no one knows where it comes from. Everyone's confused. And Baxter's like, well, Sensei Hun, I'm completely aware you're upset, but it's not my fault that Sensei Shredder fell into a portal that came out of nowhere. Just appeared out of nowhere, grabbed Sensei Shredder, you know? Yeah. And then Rocksteady grabs him. He's like, no, not again, not again. And then Hun takes out his circular saw, and we cut away. Shredder lands on the ground, confused where he's at. And then out from the shadows comes some new giant robot thing. And out from its stomach, a brain creature swings out. The robot picks up Shredder, and he's confused, but then the brain creature says he knows who Oroku Saki is. Shredder tries to play it cool, but he's also obviously scared and doesn't know what's going on, and he asks what he is. The brain creature says that he is Krang, Emperor of Dimension X, Conqueror, head of TCRI. Krang in the original looks alright, but the voice is terrible, and I don't really know what else to make it. Maybe Christopher Walken's, I don't know. Shredder recognizes TCRI as the people who created the mutagen. And he questions how does he know who the Shredder and the Foot are. And Krang replies that he knows everything. He's been watching them for a while. The Shredder and the Foot are the ones who tried stealing my mutagen. And he proposes an agreement that the Foot can have all the mutagen they want and all Dimension X's resources as long as they help him get a thing. And that thing's in 3 different parts across the world. 2 are somewhere in New York, but one's in Brazil. Those things can help them build a transmat which will teleport Krang's ultimate weapon, the Technodrome, and they'll conquer the entire world. And Shredder agrees to this arrangement. And they shake hand and tentacle, and it's kind of shown that he's slimy. They teleport back to the Foot's headquarters, and everyone, even Hun's, scared about what Krang is. Meanwhile, the good guys, Raph shows that they have a mouser, and they come to the conclusion that the Foot might be working with Baxter. So they have to come up with a plan over dinner of another pizza, and Casey and April are comedically disgusted over the turtles' weird toppings like pepperoni, Cheetos, Tabasco, and mustard. And Mikey downing Crush at the same time as he's eating, combining the flavors, and Splinter just eating plain cheese. But Donnie comes up with a plan. He gives the humans some communicator wristwatch things, and they have to disguise themselves. But Casey says, well, I'm not very easy to hide. They're probably going to recognize me. But Donnie just gives them blonde wigs and say to deal with it. They don't really have a whole lot of options. So they disguise themselves and stalk out for Baxter. They find him. They have to get close to him because they have to download information from his iPad wirelessly through their communicators. And they have little earpieces, and Donnie tries feeding information to them about Baxter, and they try faking being nerds. But Casey's earpiece fell out, so he can't understand what Donnie's trying to say. So he just pivots the conversation to, oh man, where did you lose your eye? Baxter tries saying, lab accident. People I work with can be quite barbarians. Just like this hand, those new mousers can be real violent if you think you have a rat in your hand. I promise, by the time they're finally hitting the market, they'll be a lot safer. And some guy comes up to Baxter and says, hey, we're pretty sure the thing's at the museum. We should go back and see if it's there. And he takes the laptop. So Casey and April have to follow him and not do a weird costume change. And they eventually get the information. Donnie decodes it, and he finds out about the transmat parts. And one of them is conveniently in the museum. So the turtles suit up and head over. They hop into the museum, stalking around. We see Bebop and Rocksteady grab the thing. And then comedically, the turtles bump into two ninjas. This leads into a fight, and the turtles are dealing with the ninjas completely fine. And Donnie grabs a vial of mutagen from one. But then Bebop, Rocksteady, Hun, and Jenica appear and say they have a secret weapon. And out from the door comes new mutants, a cow, a mole rat, and a hamster. But they're also kind of dumb and just kind of waddle around and not really fight the turtles because they were just mutated straight from animals and not humans who became animals. And as a tribute to Secret of the Ooze, and Hun screams, babies! They're just babies! But then the police show up. They point guns at the turtles, saying that, watch out, they're monsters. And Mikey tearfully says, we're not monsters. Then the Foot's mutants get a little too close to the cops, and they start shooting the cow, which gives the turtles enough time to escape. Back at the base, Donnie's been experimenting with the mutagen, and sees that, even temporarily, they can use it to turn human. Much like in the original, Leo doesn't want to tell anyone else. Mikey overhears it and tells Raph, and Mikey wants to use it because he's sick of being stuck in the sewer and everyone thinking that he's a monster. But we leave Raph just upset that Leo's keeping secrets as he's punching in a punching bag. And then we get to the lead scene of April being offered a job to become an anchor by the original live-action April. Back with the Foot, they fix up the cow and decide that they are just going to start mutating the normal Foot soldiers. Back with the turtles, we find out the next part is located in the old abandoned TCRI building. They come up with the idea they're going to go through the pipes, which are conveniently near the sewer the turtles are hanging out in. So they send Mikey to cut through some bars, but then he hears that same roar from earlier. And he sees a crocodile guy, and he starts to investigate. And conveniently, this leads him into the TCRI building. The crocodile puts on a lab coat and glasses and starts playing with the part of the thing. Mikey accidentally says the part out loud, and then Leatherhead walks up to him, super tall and intimidating, and then has a comedically unfitting voice, like a Cajun Nancy Gribble. She apologizes because she didn't know she had a guest. And Mikey says, "It's all right, man." And Leatherhead says she's a girl. Leatherhead says that they're just working on some transmat parts. Mikey says, "Oh, that sounds familiar." Leatherhead says, "That must mean you're familiar with the Utroms." Mikey's like, "The what's now?" The rest of the turtles arrive, and Leatherhead gives their backstory, saying that they at one point were an exotic pet but were flushed down the toilet, and then the Utrons found them. Brain-like creatures from Dimension X. They experimented on her with the mutagenic ooze, which increased her strength and intelligence. And Mikey's like, "Oh, radical, we're also mutants from the ooze stuff." Leatherhead continues, saying that they lived with the Utrons for a while, until 16 years ago, where the evil warlord Krang appeared, with an army of rocks, slaughtering the rest of the Utron race so he can be the only one. Leatherhead tried fighting back, but it was all in vain. The next thing she knew, all of them were wiped out, and she was left alone. So she's been working ever since on this transmat technology to try and go to Dimension X to find her family. And she's supposed to meet with someone who says that they can help her. And then out from the shadow, we see a bionic leg, and it turns out to be Baxter, who says, "That's right, Leatherhead, the Foot's your real friends. These turtles only want to stop you." And out from behind him is a bunch of mutant foot soldiers, as well as Jenica and Hun. And there's a big fight, and the turtles have trouble taking on all the mutants. And Baxter transforms his mechanical hand into a blaster. He points at defeated Leo, saying, "Special thanks from my best friend Krang." But then Leatherhead pulls the blaster away, and it shoots off into a wall. And Leatherhead screams that "You work with Krang?" And he violently bites off his arm, including the non-metal bits. And he tosses him into a shelf covered in mutagen, and he starts flailing around, screaming in pain, and he gets some on Hun. The turtles kick him away and escape with Leatherhead. The building starts collapsing, and at the base, Raph finally decides to confront Leo. Mikey's like, "No, please, just think about a hip-hop Christmas album." We get a similar confrontation between Raph and Leo from the original, but Raph also notes they could also use the mutagen to turn Master Splinter back to human. But Leo says Splinter's fine, he's literally never complained about being a rat before. And speaking of Master Splinter, he comes in questioning why everyone's screaming. Who is this giant alligator person? And he sees Mikey's all upset and crying. Leo just says nothing's happening, and he goes to his room. Splinter tries comforting Mikey. Meanwhile, we see the mutants go through the TCI ruins, and we see Baxter and Hun in silhouette. They get picked up by Karai and Shredder's got some new awesome Dimension X technology suit. Back with the turtles, they detect the next part, which is in Brazil. So the turtles sneak onto a plane. Oh no, Bebop and Rocksteady already got the thing. And then we just get the entire Brazilian scene from the original film because it's just fun, man, okay? Sorry. But maybe we also see that Mikey loses now both of his nunchucks, and then make it a little more obvious that the turtles go into their shells as they fall off the waterfall. Leo says, "Thanks guys, real team effort." But then Raph kicks him into the water and confronts him, blowing up for what happened.
"You are so smug! You know that? You think the world revolves around you, don't you? That we couldn't possibly survive without the mighty and powerful Leonardo to guide us through our problems, huh?
And this qualifies as just fine? Risking the safety of our family? I mean, come on, what were you thinking?
Don't push it, Leo.
That.
And whoever said I wanted to be led? I'm better off calling my own shots now. Get used to it.
You're impatient and hot-tempered, and more importantly, I'm better than you.
Donnie tries diffusing the situation, but it doesn't really work, saying that we're all equals, none of us are actually any better than each other.
Oh, you know something, big brother? I'd have to disagree with you on that one.
Don't do this, Raph.
I'm done taking orders.
This leads into a Raph and Leo fight in the river. Donnie tries pushing them away from each other, but just gets smacked away. Mikey starts crying and screaming to stop it. We're supposed to be brothers. Why do you have to be like this? Why can't we just get along so we can save the world? The two start realizing what they're doing and kind of apologize a little to each other. With Raph calling himself an asshole and Leo saying that he's also an asshole. Let's be assholes together. Then all the turtles hug. They sneak back home, and they see a big cloud in the sky. They make it back to base, and Leatherhead screams that they have all the transmat parts. The Technodrome is so big they have to teleport it in pieces and reassemble it in Earth. Even with the teleporter they got, they have to go and stop this. But Donnie realizes it's all in broad daylight. They could use the mutagen. He hands it to Leo, and he hands it to Raph, saying it's all up to you guys. Raph hands it to Splinter, but he questions why would he want it? He's come to terms being a rat. Life might be a little easier if he was human again, but he's in no rush to ever become human again. He likes being himself, even if it is a giant rat. Raph looks at the vial, and he asks everyone what they think they should do, and Mikey says, let's not use it. Donnie, Leo, and then Raph finally agree, let's not. They have a go team turtle power moment, and they head topside, out of the shadows, and are immediately seen by the police who are all scared by them. But conveniently, Vern, Casey, and April are all nearby, and we get the scene from the original where Vern has to admit that they're the real heroes and he didn't do anything. Then Leatherhead appears and informs the humans about the Technodrome. So they head to the location of the transmat, which is in the abandoned building that the Foot's hanging out in. The cops deal with the mutants. The actual characters fight through a couple of Foot. Mikey's using a grappling hook as a tribute to the 80s series until he realizes it's kind of complicated and stupid. So he gets some nunchucks off of a Foot Ninja, which are slightly less complicated. The team split up, with the turtles accidentally alerting the whole building they're there. Then we finally see Mutant Baxter. He's a fly. He regrew all of his missing limbs. And Mutant Hun, who's Slash. April, Casey, Leatherhead, and Splinter take them on. Well, mostly Leatherhead takes on Slash, and the others take on Baxter. Until eventually Casey comes up with the idea to talk to Baxter, reminding Baxter that the Foot's the one who cut off his leg, his hand, and his eye, and he should be upset about that. And Baxter's like, you're right, and he starts attacking Slash until he tricks them to all go into a storage crate, and Casey takes a grenade off of Slash, smacking it into the crate with his hockey stick, and slams the door shut, presumably blowing both of them up. The turtles make it into an elevator, and we get the same elevator scene from the original. They make it to the top, and Mikey notes that it's a super shredder. They fight Shredder and Krang, and they're both super overpowered, especially when we realize that a normal Shredder was too much for the turtles in the first film. Meanwhile, the others come to the transmat, which is being guarded by Karai and Jenica recognizes Casey, and Casey vaguely recognizes her. April asks what gives, and Casey says, oh, she was part of the Foot with me. We kind of did a thing. It didn't really mean anything.
It meant nothing?
This leads into a fight between them all. Meanwhile, the turtles, thanks to the power of friendship and family and working together and outsmarting the guys and yada yada, the turtles work together and stop and deactivate Krang's mechanical body. But it's too late, as he says. The Technodrome is nearly complete. Leatherhead sees this and just casually smashes the transmat, which stops the portal. And because the Technodrome wasn't fully stuck together yet, it all just starts crumbling in the air and collapsing towards New York. Everything starts falling, and people are hanging off the debris, and Krang's hanging on to Shredder as they keep trying to attack everyone, where April actually knocks Shredder hands loose, and they start falling, and Krang frantically pushes a button and activates the teleporter as they go through, but Shredder's helmet falls off of him. All the mutants run away. All the turtles hang on to debris as they fall. Both Leo and Raph have a big apology as they fall, but land in the safety. Everyone meets back up after the debris. Jenica has some shrapnel sticking out of her and asks for help from Karai, but taking the opportunity to either help Jenny or get the Shredder's helmet, she takes the Shredder's helmet and runs off. The turtles find Jenny, and Leo decides to give her a blood transfusion to help her. Donnie doesn't know if it will really work, but it's the last thing they can do to help her. So they go through with it, and the mutagenic blood in Leo turns her into a turtle. She's kind of freaked out by this and questions why the turtles helped her. And they just simply say because, unlike the Foot, the turtles are actually family and help others. Then we cut back to Krang and the Shredder.
What the devil happened? Where the devil are we? Dimension X? No! But I don't want to conquer this place. I want to conquer Earth.
In Dimension X, I am absolute master. You will do my bidding from now on.
Shredder takes orders from no one.
We shall see, Orokosake!
And the film ends with a news report by now head anchor April O'Neil revealing the turtles to the world.
Turtles turned out to be the saviors of the city as they fought off an alien invasion.
Public opinion might be mixed about them. But as for this reporter, these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are well deserved to come out of the shadows. They get awards for saving the city, along with Leatherhead and Splinter and Casey. The Turtles high five and say cowabunga. And the film ends with a remix of Pizza Power. And that was my rewrite of Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Hope you guys liked it. Comment if you didn't or had better ideas. Either way, I just hope you enjoyed and watched this long.